Hey, what's up everyone, White Carson here, and today we'll be talking about why you are not throwing the ball 60 yards, and we're going to start the video right now. Alright, so if you're watching this video, you probably have seen that we do have a new how to throw the ball 60 yards program, so I wanted to go over and more in depth into why you're not throwing the ball 60 yards. We have a quarterback here on the right. I'm going to scribble him out just a little bit just because I don't want to give too much revealing information about him in particular, and really want to be able to focus on, what we can do from a pure mechanic perspective. The focus is going to be here on Josh Allen, right? He has one of the best deep balls. Not that, his mechanics are perfect in every way. I think that there's always areas to improve, but there are some critical errors that we're seeing when we watch quarterbacks throw that's really costing guys, right? And really being able to get the breakdown. The reason I love the breakdown and being able to see this video here is because it gives us, if you look down to the bottom here, it really breaks it down to the hundreds of seconds and even into the thousands of seconds in terms of each frame. We're able to get a ton of information about what's going on within your throw. So now we can really see from an anatomical perspective how you are making mistakes and what mistakes you are making, and then most importantly how you're going to be able to fix those mistakes and make improvements moving forward. So we'll see the step here. A common mistake that I've seen, and Nick's doing a pretty good job here, athlete on the right, of not taking too short of a step. I do see a lot of times people are not getting their elbows, that front shoulder up as high, right, and they're not taking a very big step initially. Both those things end up costing you a good amount within the 60. So one is going to be the step and load, right? We got to be able to take a good size step and make sure we get that shoulder height. That lower shoulder, the throwing shoulder needs to be lower than the off shoulder. Okay. Another thing is disassociation. So you can see how fast Josh Allen's pushing off that back leg and creating rotation, right? Athlete on the right, again, does a pretty good job of that as well, of being able to do that. But that's another common thing that I see, not getting disassociation and improper push off the back leg. Let's assume that you have more advanced mechanics than that, and that you're able to, understand that part of the throw already. So now let's go on to the next step, which is really going to be the hand of the wrist, right? And being able to control the shoulder. So we're in kind of similar positions here with, Josh Allen and with athlete on the right. And, so we'll get to this spot. And then what happens is as he's coming through, you can see that he really just lifts the football, right? And brings the ball right behind him here. Okay. In comparison to Josh Allen, who really keeps the ball further away from his body and maintains more of a 90-degree angle within his shoulder, elbow, hand, in comparison to athlete here, who really ends up bending a good amount here to create really like an above 100-degree angle, right? So he's really creating a lot of bend and movement back behind him, right? Which is going to limit the amount of stretch that you're able to put onto the pec. It's all about being able to maximize the stretch shortening cycle, right? And so you can see that Josh Allen's doing a much better job of being able to maintain stretch within the pec here. And then you can see here from this position, really creating a lot of rotation within the hand, right? And so instead of allowing that hand or the wrist to kind of bend back like that, he's really more rotating the hand in that way, right? He keeps the ball a little bit further away, the hand a little bit further away, and then he rotates here instead of lifting kind of the ball and bringing the thumb up just like so, and then turning around from here. And now you can see that, athlete here on the right really gets himself in a bad position with the hand and the wrist, right? And that ends up being important. So you can see here in comparison to athlete on the right, we got Josh Allen, who has more of a neutral wrist position. So you can see, you can kind of see that slight bend in the hand, and you can see that slight bend in the wrist, right, or at the top there. That's really impacting his ability to maintain a good position as he's going through the throw. So we're going to fast forward a little bit further here into the throw. Okay, and we'll go a little bit further for Allen as well. And again, you can see where that hand is, where that wrist is, and where that elbow is. So now the release point ends up being different. So the release point ends up being really critical here. So when you get that hand a little bit more neutral, then as you're coming through and releasing, you'll be able to get your hand and forearm a little bit more on top. So you can see he's releasing here with that forearm bent, in comparison to Josh Allen, where he has more of like a neutral position with his forearm as the ball is releasing his hand. So now he can release with more of a flick on the wrist and more of a push of, with the hand, where the athlete here on the right really can't get that because the ball ends up releasing beforehand. And a big reason why that's happening is because right in here, he loses that position. So as he's coming forward and through, and again, these are tenths of a second, hundredths of a second. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. So, like this athlete is really going to benefit by being able to see this because this is specific to, his wrist. Now, there's a lot of guys that I think can watch this and be able to improve their wrist. But if you don't actually have any film of this and you're not really breaking it down, then it's a little bit harder to connect. The first thing is you really have to be able to see, what are you doing in this range that's different, right? And even in here, like what are you doing through this area that's really making it so you're not setting yourself up to be able to throw the ball as far. Okay, so we went over some of the things that he's doing from a wrist perspective, and most importantly, we went over what Josh Allen is doing. He's keeping great external rotation, and he's rotating with that hand to maintain more of a neutral position. And then from here, he's really being able to get that hand up over the top. So once you drive that elbow and get that elbow through, you got to think about getting your hand on top of your forearm before you release the ball. And then as you release the ball, now you can see where he is with his leg, so he still has room to be able to transfer forward, right? So this athlete here on the right could probably get better there as well, where he could have some more weight behind him. So as he's transferring onto that front leg and releasing the football, he still has more to be able to move forward through. He does a good job of being able to rotate through, but it'd be good to be able to have more weight coming forward through the throw. You can see how much more weight he has. And again, athlete on the right is really not doing a bad job. There's a lot of guys that, again, are not throwing 60 yards, right? You're watching this video because you're not throwing 60 yards. A lot of guys, when they're releasing the football, they're way up over this front leg. So when they release, they end up basically just going over to the side. Okay, and when you just go over to the side, just rotate around, and even this athlete here can improve on that. At least he's getting some forward action, but it's mostly rotational. Then it really sets you up to not put as much force behind the ball. So we have to understand how to be able to create the timing necessary as well as the wrist position necessary to be able to make big improvements. Now, once we can understand that, there becomes the power, there becomes the core strength, there becomes the shoulder strength and the range of motion within the shoulder, right? It's not easy to be able to get as much external rotation that, Josh Allen got there, right? You have to be able to build that up. Within the program, we're going to build that up. We want to be able to look at the timing. We want to help you in being able to better sync up everything within the throw, so now you could really maximize the distance that you're throwing. Again, the reason you're watching this is because you know that you can throw 60 yards, you're just not able to get there yet. And I really highly recommend you guys checking out the program. It's going to help you out. We're going to do nutrition, we're going to do personalized programming, we're going to get you on a throw program to help you out there, as well as make sure that you have the mechanics necessary to be able to throw 60 yards. So that's the goal of the program, is really set you up with the mechanics to be able to throw the ball 60 yards. I really think a lot of you guys can be able to achieve that. We just got to be able to get the rhythm, the timing, the disassociation, and the wrist position down. And I think within 12 weeks, that's plenty of time for us to be able to do that, as long as you're wanting to commit, right? As long as you're willing to put in the time, as long as you're willing to, spend additional hours on your craft. If you're not willing to do that and you just want me to just send over a couple videos and you try to implement it 1 or 2 times, you're not going to get the results. You got to be able want to commit here for the next 12 weeks and spend a lot of time working on your mechanics in order to actually see the difference. But if you're interested, click that link down below. And also, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to the channel, I would really recommend you guys subscribing, just because we're going to continue to have videos like this and continue to be able to help you out. And as always, like the video, and you can check out the description in order to find out more about the program. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.